for me to stabilize the lumbar and not work the abdominal organs very much, I'm using more of a Mula Bhanda action and a tucking action. Are you talking about the stretch is in the front of the leg, the thighs?
No, if you're using Mula Bhanda action, it's even better.
Okay.
And Mula Bhanda is not strong, then you have to use the pelvis. But if you can directly go to Mula Bhanda, say thank God. Then go ahead and lie down. I will demonstrate. Watch. Begin on the floor. Take a support for the head, as Andrea just gave me, if necessary. And just here, have a lordosis that is normal. If you naturally tend to have a very great lordosis, you might want to tuck a little to decrease it. And then carefully lift the heels, seeing that there is no more lordosis created, and bring the heels down. After a couple of times, carefully see if you can just lift the toes off the floor without arching the back. Don't take the knees very close to the chest like I am now doing. Okay. Keep the femur in a perpendicular position. And now when the feet are brought down, don't arch the back anymore. So for that, most people have to create a little more tucking action, hold that to bring the legs down. So the feet are brought down by work in the leg, not by arching the back. The next thing we will do, next thing I'll ask you to do is to do the same thing with a little more height under the pelvis, keeping the chest lifted, having normal lordosis here. Lift the heels up. Couple of times do that. Draw the feet closer to you. And then carefully lift without working your abdominal area, without arching the lumbar. And learn to very carefully bring it down. You have to pay more attention when you bring the feet down. Much more attention is needed in bringing the feet down correctly. And then, as time passes, some of you may want to increase the height under the pelvis, under your second much more. And then do the same thing from here. Carefully lifting, holding it for 1 or 2 breaths, and as you bring down, turn towards the back. See that the work is done by the legs, for the legs, not creating unnecessary arch in the back. Lie down, everybody. First, without any height under you. And I didn't say this, but as you lie down, lift your chest. As though you are rotating the back of the armpit towards the front of the armpit. Rotate the arms. Keep that chest lifted without increasing your lordosis. Paying great attention to the lumbar area. Just lift the heels up without in any way changing the lumbar. Lift the heels up. Don't lift the whole foot up just yet. Just the heel. Keep the ball of the foot, the toes on the floor. Just lift the heels up. And bring the heels down. Of all the things you will do with this particular action, that is the most important part. Because it gives the ability to very sensitively watch what is going on in the lumbar. Having done that a couple of times, carefully draw the toes even closer to your pelvis and lift the whole foot off the floor. Very carefully, so no arch is increased in the lumbar. Certainly, as I was describing earlier, there is a naturally deep, very big lordosis for some people. Then you have to create a little tucking action with the pelvis as you lift the feet. People who have less lordosis also have to tuck, but not so strongly. Carefully bring the feet down. Watch the lumbar. Don't arch the back.
see that the stretch created is in the legs, as though from the pelvis you don't want to move anything towards the knee. Repeat that a couple of times. Certainly tucking action should not come from your eyes, ears and tongue. It comes from the pelvis. Initially, yes, you will use psoas and hence you will use much more of the abdominal strength. Over a period, learn to decrease that action. Do it more exclusively with your pelvis rather than with your abdominal strength.